Good morning. How are you all? Good. So, yesterday in the previous classes, we had been discussing about the topic from the diary of Anne Frank, the writings of Anne Frank. In the previous classes, we have already seen the background by which she started to write her diary and her family backgrounds and the reason for starting her diary writings and so many memorable events that she did not share with any other members of her family. These all things we have seen, discussed in the previous classes. And today we are going to continue and we are going to complete the chapter today. So are you all ready? If yes, let us go. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old Foji who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag and tried to keep quiet. So, here in this paragraph, we can see in her school there were total 9 teachers were there. Out of these all 9 teachers, she kept a very good relationship with all other than her mathematics teacher. Her mathematics teacher, who was an old-fashioned person, did not like her over-talking nature in the class. So as a result, he started to give her some extra works, extra assignments as punishment. At first, he has given her a topic to write an essay. The topic was a chatterbox. Here, the word meaning for chatterbox, we can understand that a person with over-talking nature or over-talking habit. So, why he has given this topic? Because let it remind her when she writes this essay as a punishment, she will remember about her extra talking in the class. And maybe she may be keeping silent from the next class onwards. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words. But the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to provide the necessity of talking. I thought and thought. And suddenly, I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there is not much you can do about inherited traits. So that evening, after completing her homeworks, she suddenly remembered about the special assignment given to her by her maths teacher. So she took the topic, began to think by chewing her fountain pen, just like the habit of many students. When they began to think something, they start to chew the end of their fountain pen. Here, she also started to do the same. She began to think whether to write randomly something to fill the paper and complete the assignment given to her, or write something special argument to convince the professor that she is not wrong. Finally, she got an idea. So she written almost 3 pages in which she stated, or she written that as a student, or being a student, she will do her best. Definitely, she will do her best to make it control her bad habit. But at the same time, this habit of talking too much cannot be completely cured. For this, she is giving a very funny reason here. She got this habit as a genetic one from her mother. So, being a genetic trait, this habit cannot be completely cured. Mr. Kissing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lessons, he assigned me a second essay. This time, it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in, and Mr. Kissing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the 3rd lesson, he had finally had enough. Anne Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled "Quack, Quack, Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. So when she completed her task work or assignment and handed it over to the professor, he took it in a funny way, and as a result, he did not give more homework for a while. But again, when she started to talk in the class, he has assigned another homework and another essay on the topic, an incorrigible chatterbox, which means here a person with such a bad habit that cannot be changed or that cannot be completely cured. So once again, she completed her work or task and submitted to the professor. And for a while, he did not give more homework to her for 1 or 2 classes. But once again, she was not going to stop her habit of talking in the class. So once again, she repeated her habit. So the professor given her a 3rd topic, a funny topic. He meant to make fun on her. This time, he has given the topic like this: "Quack, quack, quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. The class roared. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend Sani, who was good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Kissing was trying to play joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I would make sure the joke was on him. So here, when the professor scolded and punished her for a 3rd time, the whole class began to laugh at her. So she began thinking so seriously what to do. Even after completing her first and second assignment in a serious way, making a lot of arguments, the professor was not ready to accept her arguments. Instead, he was giving punishment after punishments. So she started to think deeply to do something more genuine way. So in that situation, her friend Sani, who was good in writing poetries, offered her a help to write the given topic in the form of a poetry with perfect rhyme and rhythm. She jumped with happy. So now she got an idea. So both Annie and her friend worked together and they have completed a poem in a funny way, actually about the professor himself. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and have not been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing's always making joke these days. So she finally completed her beautiful poem, and the poem goes like this. There was a mother duck and a father swan with 3 small ducklings. The father swan bit and killed the 3 ducklings because of their noisy nature. So it was the content or theme of the poem. So actually she wrote this poem to make fun on the serious nature of the professor himself. But luckily the professor took it in a right way, means in a funny way. And he liked the poem. As a result, he was ready to read the poem loudly in the class by adding his own personal comments. Not only in her own class, in many other classes, he was reading this poem to the children. And after this incident, he did not give any more special assignment or extra work as punishment to Annie Frank for her because of her over-talking nature. But on the contrary, the professor himself had been changed, his own serious nature. So till then he was so serious. But after this incident, he changed himself a lot and even started cracking jokes in the class. So this is all about our chapter Annie Frank. So I hope all of you understood the chapter well, and once again I advise you to go through the entire chapter, and after completing the chapter you will get a clear picture about Annie Frank. What was her nature? So energetic. We can see, we have seen many funny incidents. So how energetic she was. And when you get further interested, or if you get more interested to know about Annie Frank, I advise you to go and read the entire book entitled as The Diary of a Young Girl.